Olá, agora sim, definitivo? Vamos lá. Boa noite, queridas amigas e amigos da Boa Arquitetura. Iniciamos aqui mais um evento com conteúdo primoroso para nos inspirarmos e vibrarmos positivamente nesses tempos de pandemia. O VIVAMADEIRA foi desenvolvido em conjunto pela Projeto e pela Galeria da Arquitetura por iniciativa da Urben, uma empresa amata. E para quem ainda não os conhece, deveria. Logo mais, a querida Ana Belisário vai dar uma rápida palavrinha para nos contar sobre esse lindo trabalho, usando a madeira engenheirada como estrutura para projetos arquitetônicos. É um material incrível, ancestral, renovável, leve e resistente. Vale a pena conferir. Para mostrar alguns cases de aplicação desse material, nada melhor do que chamar dois gigantes da arquitetura mundial. O estúdio MK27, com Renata Furlaneto e Marcio Kogan, e um convidado mais que especial, o arquiteto japonês Kengo Kuma. Bem-vindos a todas e todos aqui presentes. São milhares de participantes já nesse momento, agora ao vivo aqui conosco. Sobre a dinâmica desse evento. Por respeito ao nosso convidado internacional, todas as palestras serão ministradas em inglês. Caso alguém tenha algum problema com o idioma, nos desculpamos antecipadamente e informamos que daqui a alguns dias disponibilizaremos o conteúdo legendado em nossos canais. E se alguém tiver algum problema de transmissão durante o evento, eu aviso que estamos retransmitindo a live pelo canal de YouTube da Galeria da Arquitetura. Podem entrar por lá, também mesmo evento ao vivo. Teremos agora uma breve introdução da Ana sobre a madeira engenheirada e a Urben. E, na sequência, Renata e Marcio entram para apresentar seus projetos e nos contar mais sobre o uso desse rico material. Em seguida, receberemos Kengo Kuma, que também irá nos mostrar seus trabalhos em madeira. E, na sequência, promoveremos um bate-papo entre os nossos palestrantes. Como o tempo é curto, temos algumas perguntas prévias, mas estaremos atentos ao chat para sabermos quais os temas que mais lhes interessam saber um pouco mais. Então, vocês podem ir comentando, conversando aí com a gente. Good evening, my friends in Brazil, and to all our audience around the world. We're glad now to present our lecturers for this event. Viva Madeira! Ms. Renata Furlaneto, Mr. Marcio Kogan, and Mr. Kengo Kuma, live directly from Japan. This is an event made by Projeto Magazine and Galeria da Arquitetura, supported by Urben, an Amata company. This evening, we are excited to have two of the major architecture players around the globe. Let me now stop talking and start this incredible content. I'm glad to present you all and call now here Ms. Ana Belisário from Urben. We have a brief talk to all of you. Ana, é com você. Opa, caiu? Não, voltou. Aninha, tá por aí, não?
Oh, eu estou.
Chegou.
Agora vai.
Deixa a vinhetinha terminar, então. Opa. Tá aí ela, bonita.
É vinheta, gente.
Sem vinheta não tem graça, né? Bom,
maravilhoso.
Bom a gente saber que deu aí uma travadinha, mas é bom que você está aqui me ouvindo, não é isso?
Boa noite, Fê. Muito obrigada aí pela introdução. E boa noite, né, gente? Que dia lindo, que festa, né? Online, tudo bem, mas Que baita evento aí, a gente teve mais de 4 mil inscritos, a gente está muito, muito feliz com a noite de hoje, muito bacana, então obrigada à Revista Projeto, Galeria da Arquitetura, Fê, Munjoli, pela organização impecável como sempre, né? Bom, e a Revista Projeto todo mundo já conhece, né? Mas para quem ainda não conhece a Urben, contar um pouquinho para vocês, né, quem a gente é. A Urben a Mata Urben é uma empresa brasileira. A gente tem uma atuação super forte no segmento de florestas e a gente está em processo de construção de uma indústria em larga escala de madeira engenheirada aqui no Brasil, que fica pronta aí no fim do ano que vem. Então, nos últimos anos, a gente tem feito uma série de palestras, encontros, workshops, para apresentar, mas, sobretudo, para criar um espaço de debate, né, para essa nova tecnologia, olhando para esse futuro, né, para uma transformação muito profunda, que a gente já começa a ver acontecer na construção civil aqui, assim como já está acontecendo em outros cantos do mundo, né. Então, nesse sentido, hoje a gente tem uma alegria enorme de estar aqui, dividir com vocês a presença de convidados tão queridos e ilustres, né, como o Marcio Kogan e a Renata Furlaneto, muito obrigada, e o mestre Kengo Kuma, né, que topou esse fuso horário Brasil-Japão para estar aqui com a gente hoje, muitíssimo obrigado. Então, para finalizar, on behalf of the entire Amata Urban team, I would like to thank you, Kengo Kuma, for accepting our invitation. We are very happy and honored to have you here today. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy it. Então, vamos lá, turma, aproveitem. Boa noite.
Legal, Aninha. Obrigado, viu? Você volta no final, não é isso? Legal. Bom, vamos chamar agora, já agradecendo antecipadamente o aceite ao nosso convite, um dos 2 gigantes mundiais da arquitetura que estão aqui conosco hoje. Pelo estúdio MK27, queria convidar Renata Furlaneto e Marcio Kogan. Já estou vendo vocês aqui. Olá, Márcio, Renata, tudo bom?
Olá, boa noite. Boa noite para todo mundo.
Very good. Queria agradecer vocês muito aí novamente o convite, aceitarem nosso convite aí mais uma vez. E, bom, vamos já direto aí para o que interessa, né? Vocês estão me ouvindo bem, tudo certo? Então, queria agradecer mais uma vez e a gente volta a se falar em breve. Vamos começar a apresentação, ok? They are hearing us very well, and now we are starting our presentation with Mr. Marcio Kogan and Ms. Renata Furlaneto from Studio MK27, Brazil.
Okay, thank you, Fernando and Ana. Very proud to be with Mr. Kuma-san. We are friends since exactly 10 years ago. I don't know if he is now in the room. Okay. We brought 5 different projects in 5 different ways. 5 different ways to how to use wood. The first one is house Katusaba house, and in this case, the use of wood is related with sustainability. The client asked to have a radical sustainability in this house. It was the first one to get the platinum stamp from Green Building Council. And the reason here was it's a very difficult place to get there, and the wood was a very good solution, and you can assemble everything on site, and everything, almost everything is wood in this house.
I will start talking about a bit of this necessity of being in a, once we were in a remote, very remote piece of land that was totally disconnected with any water or electricity supply. The sustainability was something that it was necessary. So the first thing was to, when we thought about how to assemble the house, was to create a structure that could be fully produced on a factory and then brought to the site and be assembled in a very fast and clean way. The idea was to reach the platinum certification, so many decisions were taken to allow this certification to happen. The first thing was to keep the land in a very permeable way. So we touched the land in a very few points. There are some structure, some concrete supports that holds the structure, and from those supports above, it's fully a wood structure. The first slab is not a slab, is a structure, a floor structure that holds almost the full house. And from those floor structure, we have the columns raising and producing a rhythm, a kind of a modulation that can sustain all the program of the house, that organize the program of the house. I think the slides are passing very slowly. I'm sorry about that. So now you see the fully structure. And after that, what we see wrapping the house is the wall system. From those walls are also a wood paneling system that is protected by an insulation PET membrane that helps the insulation of the house. From those spaces we have, now we see from the bottom, we have veranda, the living area, bedrooms, and a big open space that is connected to the view. Can pass. And this is the reason why the client has chosen this beautiful location. It's a it's a mountain location with a beautiful view. Can pass. And the wrapping system, the facade system, is also in wood. So we have some sticks that clad both the solid parts of the walls and also protects and create a light filter in the both living and veranda areas. So this is the house floating in the mountains and floating towards the beautiful view. Again, so all the elements were in wood. Also, the glazing panels had a wooden frame around, and the decking area is fully permeable. And just the internal areas of the house, we see some cladding, some tiles, clad tiles on the bottom of the floor. Please, once again, one. and the light filter the light coming from the view and creating the full light effect in the facade. Once more.
The second example is the Merkaza Volume C, located in São Paulo. And the idea was to create a big cube, I think it's 18 by 18, Renata?
It's 15 by 15.
15 by 15 without any columns in the middle.
In the center.
And this is for a client that we designed the shop, the other pavilion that was Volume B. And in this case, the idea is to transform this space in different uses, like shop, a gallery, a place for parties. And the main idea in the beginning was to have a space for a kind of a vintage motorhome, to be an artist residence that could work there. And in the end, they decided not to have this element inside because it was too big. But it was prepared for it. Renata?
So the need of this flexible space, it has driven the structural system to allow a you see a sequence of 8 particles that overcome a 15-meter span, and you can move a little bit, and they are locked by a intermediate beam that also holds some extensions to hold the facade material. Once more. So the roof and the facade, they are kind of connected to this structure. The first part, the top part, is a polycarbonate system that allows the light to enter. It's a translucent polycarbonate panels. And on the bottom, you have a corrugate metallic sheets that wrap the building. Once more. On the top, we have wooden panels and just a membrane, a waterproofing membrane. And all the rainwater gutters, they run on the boundary of the building. And the collection of this water was designed as an exposed tubes that run behind the column, so you actually don't see, but they are fully exposed.
It's important to say that this project and the previous one was the structure and it was produced and designed by Carpinteria.
Carpinteria, yes. So this is a case where this structure, it works like it is the interior space. Right, it's something that conforms the space and actually acts like the interior expression of the building. The facades, once more, please. The facade is just a wrapping system that protects from the rainwater, but the space is really written by inside. So you see the connections between the beams and the columns, the metallic connection between the concrete floor and the wooden columns, the metallic connections. They were all designed very carefully in order to allow this design to be as minimalistic as possible. Once more. So the corner detail with the double beam detail supported by the columns and the corner. Once more. These bracing cables and also the substructure that holds the polycarbonate facade outside. Once more. So again, you see this facade choice it makes the light come inside during the day, but also makes the building turns into a lantern during the night. once more.
This is another case that the wood structure was only to protect the architecture and to protect the people below it. It is just a shading system. That's it.
Once more, you see that the house is organized in a different way. You have the enclosed space. You can move on once more. Thank you. Yeah, all the enclosed space, they are along this concrete, not concrete, but this decking area, and they are independent from each other. In the center, you have the master bedroom and living area. On the left, you have 4 guest bedrooms, and on the right, you have dining area and kitchen. Once more. And this wooden structure is something that wraps this house and creates a sort of intermediate space between what is actually inside and what is outside. Once more. It holds just, it supports just a very light ceiling, wooden stick ceiling that is not rain-proofed, but has a role to create shadow, as the trees that are around in the forest, once more. So this is the condition of the building. You have the building fully wrapped by the forest, and the role of this intermediate space is to create this in-between space of what is inside and what is fully outside. Once more. So it's a place to chill out, to find, to meet friends, to meet people at night, to have a guest, having a glass of wine. So it's a space where you can enjoy nature and be outside, not in as we are in the cities, but in Bahia you are allowed to be outside for many moments. It's a pleasant way. So the shadow it's special in that sense to create this space where you can be. Once more. And also these shadows, these light effects, they can touch the volumes and move this and create different expression in different atmospheres during the day. Once more. But also very connected to the nature. Once more.
The fourth one is a hotel in Maldives. By a huge coincidence, they are opening the hotel today or this week, and today they are opening this Kengo Kuma's hotel. That's in a neighbor island. That's for the same clients, a complex of 3 islands, and Kengo is designing the other one. And today, I don't know if Kengo is there. And this project was there are 2 things to show here. The use of the wood, that's in a way more pragmatic. And it was the best solution, but you can't see the wood. And the other one is, Renata will show, is an art pavilion. That we have some art pavilions in some place in the island, and this one is it's a James Turrell pavilion. Not this one. This is the home, but Renata will show the other one. That is a very interesting project we built.
So I think the connection here with the first impression and the first desire that we had when we started designing the hotel was to create an architecture that could be embraced and surrounded by the nature. We thought that this is a site that where the nature and the light and the sea and the sand, everything is so overcoming, so awesome, and it's very difficult to compete with it. So the rule here was to create a very simple architecture that could just frame the view and allow the guest to be surrounded by this nature and to enjoy this special place to be. This in the first moment we didn't actually realize that the wood could be used for the villas, but actually this one-bedroom villa is a structure that was repeated 90 times. So it was, you can come another one. It was a sort of a decision that was made during the design development, because the construction company realized that the CLT panels could work not just as a structure, but they could be a wall system as well. They would work as a wall system that could bring all the perforations for the air conditioning ducts that was fully made on the factory. So everything was contributing for to gain speed in the construction. So it was proven to be a more cost-effective solution. Our design was not prepared to show the CLT. It was not our first decision, and at the end it was not exposed. But it was a lesson that we've learned about how to use the system and to gain efficiency and to gain speed in such a complicated, a remote location and a complicated setting. Once more. And this is the James Turrell Pavilion, a totally different situation. In this situation, we've decided to show this structure. And actually, this is a site-specific piece for James Turrell. You can go one more, and which is a sky space. Is a space that you can enjoy this sort of disturbing view of the sky that you don't know actually if it's a sky or if it's a painting, but it's actually a hole. So the main character here is the roof. So the idea was to leave the roof as to keep this structure on the boundaries and to hold the roof without any columns. So the facade became the structure. Once more. So this is a section that we have worked with Turrell a lot, because it's a matter of proportions. And it was something that all the roof structure are a wooden frame as well, with a wood paneling and a liquid glass fiber system paint that can give this sort of unique surface without any junctions lines. And this very thin edge is achieved by a metallic piece that is held both in the boundary of the roof and in the hole in the middle. Once again. So it was calculated in Germany by a company that is called Kempter Fitz, and it was assembled by a Singaporean timber company that is called Ventured. So it was fully produced outside the site and just brought to the site in modules. You can come, and the calculation was funny because besides all the digital material that we received, we received the review made by hand. So it was how to see that people are working, not just machines. And this is some details of the corner in plan of how the structure facade is attached to the concrete slab, which supports this piece. And all these proportions, they were developed together during the process of developing this structure, because all this structure actually became the facade material. Once more. And this is how they started the construction. They brought the panels in sections. The full roof structure is supported by those rings that actually bring to those diagonals and make the load come to the facade line. Once more beautiful than covered. And this is a small film of the actual space.
The last project, it's a project now that we're doing at this exactly moment. And we can show just one image because the client asked not to show it. I can show it now because it will have an opening for the press to show all the whole project. And this is a different way of how to use wood, Renata.
Yeah, since the beginning it was a modulation, and we decided that we would use the CLT structure, the wooden structure, in modules that could be the building can be extended in a later moment, can be built in sections, and the idea here was to produce a very an office space that could be fully connected to the nature surrounded. But at the same time, the wood was brought to the project as a sustainable point, because we wanted not just the efficiency of the construction speed and to reduce waste in the construction. All those construction points that are raised, they were also added to the desire of the client to be a full sustainable project. So all the solutions, they were driven to that direction, and I believe that it would be a very nice project in the future. We are moving to this direction. So that's it.
Okay, I just want to say one thing to Kengo Kuma. We met in New Orleans exactly 10 years ago. It was May 20, 2011. And since then, we met several times around the world. And I'd like to say one thing. He's not only a great architect, one top architect, and more important than this, he's a great man, a great guy. That's it.
So thank you all for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Renata and Marcio, for this beautiful presentation and for this inspiring work. Very, very inspiring. I love your work. Very beautiful words for Mr. Kuma, Marcio. Thank you all. I'll ask you both to be back for the final chat presentation, okay? And now we are glad to call our next lecturer, Mr. Kengo Kuma, directly from Japan.
Hello, I'm Kengo Kuma. I'm in the garden of my house. So thank you, Marcio, for the kind remark. And today, the time is very limited, and I want to show some of the projects we are using wood. And wood is very important for us and also for Japan. And the first project I want to show you is Hilo Shige Museum. Is completed year 2000. And in that project, I did a research about the history of the village, and we learned the Japanese villages have been living with the forest behind. The forest is behind the village is called Satoyama, and as the people are using the natural resources of Satoyama and using the materials and the wood as was used for cooking and making hot water, and also every the economy of the village is very much related with Satoyama Mountain Village. And in that project, we cut the building to connect the Satoyama and the village center again. And this is a hall. We cut the building, and through this as a whole, the mountain behind is a green zone, and that the village centers was reconnected. And the edge of Satoyama, the people always built shrine. The shrine was a symbol of Satoyama, and the people respect the god of Satoyama, and then they always built shrine. And shrine is sending the message to them. And the material-wise, we did use the Satoyama wood and rice papers as came from Satoyama plants, and also stone from the quarry of Satoyama. And also we worked with the craftsmen who living in the village. And for the roof, we also could use the wood. It's a new technology that is coming from the tradition of thatched roof of Japan. And it's a small pavilion we did in Italy. But the technique came from the traditional joinery system of Japan. The Japanese carpenters didn't use the metal, and always cut the wood like this and to make it fixed. And the dimension of wood is 3 centimeters by 3 centimeters, but is supporting the small pavilion. After coming back from this pavilion, I built the 10 meters high building by the same system. We tested the structural the possibility of this joint system, and finally 6 centimeters, and 50 centimeters grid is supporting this 10 meters pavilion. And no column and no beams, and only the grid is supporting the building. And for the bigger structure like bridge, we also try to use the wood in a small dimension. It is a wooden bridge in Yusuhara village. And in Yusuhara village the forestry is very, very important as an industry of them. And we worked with the small as a wooden company of the village. And the Starbucks is a big company, but this unique Starbucks, we applied this system. This is a wooden structure as a not decoration, as a supporting the small building. And after the test of this Starbucks pavilion, Starbucks shop, we designed 3-story building in the center of Tokyo. And the dimensions again is 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters, and also we try to avoid metal as possible as can. And this is a system of joinery. Simply said, it's a 3-layered system. And 2 layers is not strong because it's slidable, but 3 layers is not slidable and can fix the building easily. And also recently we are working with CLT and it is the CLT Pavilion in Harumi. The CLT is sometimes is used for as a solid as a enclosed building, but this CLT pavilion is very open, transparent. We combine with CLT and steel beam to create this as an open feeling. This pavilion is used for as a community, and the kids are enjoying this pavilion. And this is adjacent to this pavilions. We designed this as a small wooden as a museum. The stairs and the furniture are all made by as the same wood. And now we are moving this pavilion to the countryside. This wood came from this village, and we returned the material to the village. And also they want to use this as a new community center. And in São Paulo, we luckily designs Japan house. In São Paulista, facing Paulista Avenue, as a bank building, is part of bank building was converted to Japan house, and we worked with Japanese carpenter, and we did combines Japanese wood and Brazilian wood. And the dark color came from Brazil, and it's as a symbol of exchange of Japan, Brazil. And there's a white string is carbon fiber, and the carbon fiber is supporting wooden structure. For interiors, we use this as a screen. It's a metal mesh with rice paper liquid. These craftsmen came to Brazil and worked with Brazilian young workers to create this unique screen. This is a bamboo sculptures, also a very unique technique. There's no glue, as no metal. In Turkey, we also work with local material. This is a museum. Before working for this project, we thought the Turkey was a country of stone and brick. That is historically as a Osman period, they were building wooden building. In Australia, we designed this as a community center. We bent the wood to create as a soft spiral, and because softness is very much needed in the city, we thought. So most of the new buildings in Australia is a high-rise residence, and the density of high-rise residence is not so comfortable for big city, we thought. And this is the community centers, as a combination of the small the market and the kindergartens and community library and restaurants. And as a stadium, as a Olympic is planned to also open as a July, as a next month, but nobody knows it really can be opened or not. And we designed the stadium made by wood, and we use the wood from every prefectures of Japan. Japan has 47 prefectures, and for south side, we did use the wood from south part of Japan. The north facade, we are using the wood from the north. And also we try to combine the wood and the vegetation, and that to bring the breeze into the building. We try to avoid as a mechanical air conditioning system as possible as we can, and and wood is sometimes working as filters to control natural wind, which is coming into the building. And the section-wise is the same as a famous temple, as a pagoda and temples. The layers of the roof is protecting building from natural light and bringing the wind to the depths of the building. And the wood is good for this kind of public building, we think. And the structure, it is a composite of steel and wood, and as it looks like full of people, but actually it is empty, because the colors of the seat is mosaic, and then it looks like as full occupied. And as for the stations, we also did use wood. It is as a big station in the center of Tokyo. We tried to bring natural material to this public building. And besides those bigger buildings, we like to design the small as a pavilion by wood. This is a trailer house made by wood. The dimension-wise, it is not big, but using wood as make this small pavilion very comfortable, very open. And people are enjoying this the soft and natural space, and it is in the center of Tokyo, and we actually opened this restaurant by ourselves, but it's a temporary restaurant. It's already closed. Sorry for that. Yes, and also we are challenging this kind of new wood block. The Western wood block is a kind of brick, but this is as a kind of Japanese wood block. It is a very transparent and very light. And the wood can make this kind of lightness and transparency, and it is this material can open the futures after pandemic, I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kuma. It was a huge experience to have your projects broadcasted this evening in Brazil, this morning in Japan. Now, I'll briefly call our editor-in-chief for Projeto Magazine, Mr. Evelise Grunow, and call back also Mr. Kogan and Ms. Furlaneto for a brief chat between all of you. Marcio?
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello.
Now we have everybody here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's. Evelise, you can start with the first question, please.
Okay. First of all, thank you for all of you. Good night, Marcio and Renata. Good morning, Mr. Kuma. I would like to start with a question for all of you about thinking about high wood structures or large-scale structures on wood. What's the possible balance between industrialization and innovation or experimentation? Mr. Kuma?
I think in 20th century, industrialization meant concrete and steel. But in 21st century, the wood can lead industrialization of sustainability, and it is very important for society.
Marcio.
Okay, I agree with Kuma, and let's try to save Amazonia.
Yes, I think that to deal with the wood in a respectful way, and especially in a country like us that we have not a very well developed wood factory or industry, I think it's important. It's proven to be an efficient system, proven to be something that is brings quality and brings speed, brings a lot of good points, and should be developed as a building system that could be. We don't even have a legislation about wood structure. This is what we are dealing now in our project. So it's something that has a lot. It's a long way for us, but I believe that from the experience that we have all over the world, it's proven to be a good direction.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to know from Mr. Kuma, but also from Furlaneto and Kogan, in which ways you believe that your projects and buildings drives the building techniques, the development with this material in wood?
As an advantage of wood is as a lightness and also for the local community is that to use local wood is very important, and as a concrete and steel are not related with the local community, but as work with the local community and work with local craftsmen is good for global warming, and also for Homo sapiens, and to live in the environment made by wood is very healthy, and mentally it is very healthy, and there's and totally the wood is much better than the concrete and steel.
The concrete and steel, it's our tradition here in Brazil. The modernism, all the modernism is based on the concrete and steel. Now, we're trying to learn how to work with wood. This is a movement in our office that began maybe 7 years ago, and we were learning to adapt this Brazilian modernism with the wood. This is interesting because I think the heritage in Japan is the opposite.
Yeah, but in Japan also in 20th century, Kenzo Tange did use concrete beautifully, and Ando also did as a create beautiful concrete building, and as those 50 years our tradition of wood was a kind of abundant and forgotten, but now we are coming back to the tradition again.
Yes, I think for us it's something that we can relate to our vernacular architecture, because we have some wood examples in some architects that have been working with wood for a long time, but it was something that was related to a language, to architectural way of designing. And now what we are testing and experimenting in the office is to allow us to make our own language in wood, which is something that the engineered wood has allowed us to do. So it's a different technique. I think it's an evolution the industry is coming very far in this way, And I think for us as architects, we need to understand that it could be a more effective, more sustainable, and more respectful way to work in the future now and in the future and for the future, right?
Kengo, once I watched on YouTube your lecture in Harvard.
Mhm.
In the end, you said there is a big fight between two groups of architects in Japan.
Mhm.
What is the meaning of this? This is wood against concrete, tradition against... what did you refer about it?
Yes, this was about the battle in 20th century as a post-war period, and in Japan, we had two schools. One school is a modernist school, and the Kenzo Tange was a leader of that school. And another school was a traditional Japanese building school. And the traditional Japanese building school was simply said it is copying the tradition. And the designs was beautiful and very refined, very sophisticated, but they didn't want to finds a new way of using wood, and then the two schools were fighting, and I think it's not as a happy situation for architects. As I want to combine those two schools.
Of course, yeah. For me it was very strange. There's a big fight about it.
I would like to make a question to Renata. You mentioned that the way you are adapting or developing another way to conceive your projects, thinking about engineered wood. Could you tell us a little bit more about this? In which way changed the way of conceiving?
I think that when one thing is to work with wood in a small scale project or in a residential project that maybe you can allow you to maybe play a little bit with it. I think that's the way of seeing it. And this is something that we have done in some residential projects. But as the scale grows, and then when we have a project like in Maldives that you have to build 90 units, or in this office building that we are doing that we need to build very, very fast. So those are the wood is not, it's coming as an effective and good way to do it, in a smart way to do it. And it is related, when you use certificated wood, it is related to something that could be maybe disassembled in a different period, or reused or recycled. So it has also a different way of seeing, another layer of how can I say in English, but to be conscious about what you're doing. So I think it has these two sides, and I think we have gone through those paths, and as the scale of the projects are getting bigger, different solutions are needed. So it's sort of natural that we are also going with this wave and learning about this industry that is actually getting very much more efficient and precise.
Okay.
Okay. We have a little time here, but we are receiving a lot of questions, dozens of questions from our audience. So I was reading those questions right now, and I realized that we have plenty of people asking the same thing. So I'd like to know from you, from all of you, how to include wood and this engineered wood on social housing, or is it a political issue, or how to do that? Mr. Kuma can start, please.
Yes, I think as engineering wood is appropriate material for social housing, and as a social housing, so we can repeat as the same planning and as the same detail, and as a wood is good for that kind of repeat. And we can drop the cost of social housing by using wood. And also for living, the wood is best material, as I believe.
Marcio.
I think it's the perfect material, but I think people would have prejudice against it.
Yes.
Yes, I think it's related to the labor, also the labor quality, right? I think it's a way that it's something that we can learn. I think it's a matter of I think it's an industrialized system that can work very well, that can be fast, and that can be cost effective if gain scale, and can be also, as Mr. Kuma-san said, it's very nice to be close to it, but it's something that we need to research, we need to learn. I think it's a matter of working and trying and experimenting and finding the right way, and also allowing the industry, for instance, in Brazil, to grow. Because I think it's a matter of having certificate woods and have a lot of factories to gain volume. Right?
We need to make some experience with this.
Yes, I think it would be nice.
Okay, Eve?
Do we have time?
Mr. Kuma, it's okay to have more 5 or 6 minutes? It's okay for you?
I'm sorry, as I have to leave the house to attend the meeting.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, no problem. Do you have any question for Marcio or something?
Yeah, sorry, I have to go.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Kuma, thank you. We're sad to tell you all that our time and Kuma's time is run out, and we'll have to end this incredible event. It was a beautiful experience. All questions from our audience will be answered on Amata's social media, @Amata, Brasil aqui no @AmataBrasil, okay? @AmataBrasil or @AmataBrasil. I appreciate very much your presence, our huge audience. Thanks to Mr. Fuji Hayato for intermediate our contact with Mr. Kuma. And thank you for Mr. Taishi Kuma that helped us with Mr. Kengo. And to all our team support, especially Renato, Fernanda, Jan, Luis, Julia, Victoria, Daniela, Luciana, and Felipe. Thank you, Evelise. Thank you very, very much, Marcio and Miss Furdaleto, Renata. I'm sad to have you. I'm sad I don't have you on a stage in presence and ask for a big applause for you all. But I'm sure that our audience are doing that right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Obrigado.
Obrigada.
Tchau, gente. Obrigado, viu?
Tchau.
Agora eu queria só chamar a Ana para dar um tchauzinho. Ana, eu vou encerrar o evento agora e vou deixar você aí para fazer o encerramento. Queria agradecer muito a equipe da Urben, da Amata, a Isabela Baracá, a Veridiana Chaves e a nossa queridíssima Ana Belisário, com quem eu deixo aí as palavras finais. Obrigado, gente. Obrigado a todos.
Boa! Rezinho, falar depois do Kengo, Kuma, do Kogan e da Renata fica difícil, né? Mas, gente, foi muito bacana a participação de todos aí, muita inspiração, projetos de todas as escalas e essa discussão sobre a crescente necessidade do uso de madeira como estratégia de sobrevivência mesmo, né? Então, acho que é sempre legal renovar essa inspiração e esse aprendizado. Então, como o Fê disse, quem ainda não segue a gente lá no @matabrasil, a gente vai começar a responder as perguntas que não conseguiram ser respondidas aqui, então a gente vai soltando isso devagarinho, e qualquer dúvida que tiverem, a gente está à disposição. Estamos por aqui. Obrigada demais, boa noite a todos.
Obrigado, Aninha, boa noite, viu? Vamos lá. Obrigado a todos que se mantiveram aí conosco até agora. Obrigado.